Hey. Thanks for pressing play. Welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. Only 17 more of these to go during the regular season of the 2024-2025 Phoenix Suns season. That's right, the Suns lose tonight to the Memphis Grizzlies. How do you like your spice? Are you into like that subtle heat of Carolina? Or maybe you're a chili pepper enthusiast. Are you all about that Nashville hot burn? Well, I'll tell you one thing. The spice was alive and well in Memphis tonight as the Grizzlies once again imposed their will on the Suns. Despite a laundry list of injuries for Memphis, they proved once again that a culture of physicality and a determination to be the team that imposes their will can lead to victories. This marks the fourth time this season that they've served Phoenix a hot plate of defeat. It's a season sweep. So maybe, just maybe, the spice they experienced in Memphis tonight wasn't just fiery. Matthew, maybe it was just that Memphis barbecue because the Suns, it's only a 2-point loss, but it kind of felt like they got barbecued a little bit. What do you think they're kind?
Yeah, they probably taste pretty good too, right? That's all they're worth this season is probably just eating them, right? Getting a little bit of cannibalism involved. I don't know what else you want to do with the Suns team. They're not going to win, so you might as well eat them.
just eat them up, get some good sides, some mac and cheese, a baked potato casserole. Delicious, but a loss for the Suns. Unfortunate. In the 4 games that they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies this season, they did it by a combined 17 total points. So all these games were close, but just not close enough. That's kind of the story of the Phoenix Suns this season, huh?
Yeah, especially in the game with Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson out, you think the Suns can kind of take advantage of that. I did predict them to have a close game against the Grizzlies, maybe pulled out in the end with Kevin Durant's shot or Booker getting hot at the end of the game, but neither happened. Like, it was a close game, but those guys could not get it going towards the end to help the Suns finish it out with a victory. But I don't know. I kind of felt like the Suns had this one and they just kind of let it slip through their fingers, right?
Yeah, Kevin Durant almost hit a 3-pointer that would have won this game. And it would have been a completely different outcome, a completely different conversation that we're going to have in the Suns Jam Session podcast. But alas, it didn't happen because none of those good things happened to the Suns this season. Have they hit a buzzer beater this season to win a game?
KD has, I think, in the first 9 games, I think he hit a couple. I feel like he hit a couple clinching shots, but I don't know if they were actually game winners. So
the good old days. Well, welcome, ladies and jamsters, to another Jam Session podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review wherever you're watching this. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're listening to the podcast later, go ahead, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen. This is on Spotify. It's on Apple. We appreciate it. We're going to talk about this game. We're going to try to fix the Suns. No, we're not. Just crack them if you got them. And let's talk about another loss. 30-35 now on the season for the Phoenix Suns.
Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
That's right. A spicy loss. 3 technical fouls in this one on members of the Phoenix Suns. Nick Richards, Kevin Durant, and not to be outdone, Devin Booker decided he would go and get one. It brings me my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, do you think Colin Gillespie is like a Grizzly? Does he play like a Grizzly?
He does in a way, right? I think in the first game when he came out and obviously gave the Suns a victory, you saw a little bit of that grizzliness in him, right? He's not as ugly as those dudes, I'll tell you that. I think there comes a little bit, if you're going to be a Grizzly, you got to look a little bit grizzly as well. So Gillespie got a good look. He has a mental toughness, I feel like a Grizzly. He has the attitude like a Grizzly. So I can see him being on the team, and it just makes me think of like, man, if these guys were on other teams, they'd probably be winning. If these players on the Suns were on other teams, they'd probably be winning. And I could see him winning or being, was it Spencer for the Grizzlies?
Yeah,
I could see him being him. Yeah, hitting the big shots and stuff like that for the Grizzlies to win a game. Yep, I see it.
Yeah, and I saw it too tonight. And again, when you play the Grizzlies And it's something that we've mentioned in the 3 other games in which we played them, but it bears repeating. Bears, Grizzlies. I see what I did there. But they are a physical, annoying team that if you're playing against them, they're frustrating. And they were frustrating tonight, like seeing Ja Morant do what Ja Morant does, where it's like running into a wall and then blaming the wall. Like that's what he does to draw fouls. It's like you run to a wall, you're like, foul on the wall. And you see that, and you see Desmond Bane, and you see Cam Spencer and the shit talking and all those little things. They're a team that's full of irritants. And they don't really have the respect of the NBA because they haven't done anything. And they've been in the position to do so over the past few years. Obviously, not last year because of the injury to Ja and just so many other injuries that decimated that team. But in previous seasons, they've been the number 2 seed, and they've been a team that's gone into the playoffs, and they've kind of held that swag, if you will, but it hasn't paid off for them in postseason victories. And I think part of that is because what they do is really hard to do in a 7-game series when energy is so high, when every possession is so vital. And in all honesty, you can start to game plan against it, and you can start to use their aggression against you. And that's one thing I was hoping that the Suns would do in this game. And something that Kevin Durant did early on is he was using their aggression against them. When they start bodying you up and you're driving to the hole, just lean into them and go for a shot because you know there's going to be body-to-body contact, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just really quick too, a game like this where it ends with about 10 reviews, probably about 20 free throw attempts in the last 5 minutes, it's completely boring. And I can see why people are disinterested in this Grizzlies team because that's who they are. They can shoot the 3, they can make the 3 if they're healthy, but they're also a team that's just absolutely physical. And Ja Morant has not changed at all by throwing his body into the paint, crowd surfing, getting a call here and there. But that's the way he kind of gets into, I feel like the paint gets into like a good groove in the game to where if he can get to the free throw line, then he can find a groove elsewhere. He is somewhat hard to watch right now, though. He's a guy that I've always been a fan of, but it's just kind of hard. He's been throwing the ball away a lot lately. He's a guy that hasn't really brought his team to a victory by just kind of just shutting us up on the way where we're questioning this team, right? Like he's winning these games on big shots like he did tonight, where it's just enough to get the victory, but it's not doing it in a way where it's like, oh, you're actually persuading us to where we can believe in this Memphis team as a true contender because it just isn't a consistent thing. So I feel like with the Suns and the way they kind of leaned into it early was perfect, but then also late in the game, it got physical. It got a little bit jolly out there. And it was just something the Suns couldn't handle and like back up in the end. But the Memphis Grizzlies obviously are used to that. So they obviously had enough in them to pull it out over the Suns.
I get what you're saying about Ja, and it's almost like an SGA thing. I think it's a good comp because they're very similar in their game. I think obviously SGA is a much better 3-point shooter and a good defender, a better defender than Ja. But there's something that he brings to his game. And OKC does the same thing. They can slow you down and grind you out, but because of the weapons around them and the way that they play, they can put an 8-0 run on you before you even are done picking your nose. Like you go to pick it and then you go to eat it, and by the time it's gone from nose to mouth, it's already an 8-0 run and the game's over. Whereas in a team like Memphis, and this is the challenge with Memphis right now, is the last couple times we've seen them, they haven't been healthy. And tonight was another example of that. As you mentioned, no Jaren Jackson Jr. in this one, no Zach Edey. So they gave up a ton of size in this game. And it was something that the Suns could have taken advantage of. And it quite honestly didn't take advantage of in this game the way that I felt they should have.
When was it over?
I can tell you exactly when this was over. The Grizzlies were up 108 to 104 and were dying to give this lead away. Dying. They couldn't hit any shots. They're a team that, one, they lead the league in pace. Two, they lead the league in drives per game. And they lead the league in free throw attempts. So that right there tells you who and what this team is. They're a team that thrives in the paint. They thrive on pressure. They want to put pressure on your interior. And when they do that, they have the ability to convert it into points. But that being said, without Jaren Jackson Jr., without Zach Edey, without that interior presence, they, in theory, should have a hard time rebounding the ball. Late in this game, Mike Budenholzer stood pat with Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee had 11 minutes, 6 seconds played in the fourth quarter. And the issue with that, He wasn't grabbing rebounds. They were allowing second chance points. And Nick Richards was the answer, in my opinion, in that situation. Nick Richards, to that point, he had an amazing game. He had a double-double in the first half. Richards played 20 minutes in this game, only 20, and he had 10 points and 12 rebounds. Why? What the fuck is Bud doing? Why is he not giving Richards an opportunity? I get that Plumlee has been playing better lately, has some fundamental skills, but there's a level of athleticism that is needed that he provides that Plumlee doesn't. And I know we'll see the post game. He always goes, yeah. I was just going with my gut. My gut said Plumlee.
Yeah.
And I just think that he's really trying to butter up Plumlee. So when the trip to Cancun happens, he hopes that Plumlee's going to come and hang out with him, probably share a 2-bedroom suite, sit on the beach down there and sip some teeth cracking cold pina coladas, because nothing else makes sense to me. Why the fuck wasn't Richards in during that key stretch when they were consistently trying to not win the game? And ultimately, they, after like numerous possessions, they finally scored, and the Suns were playing catch up when they should have had an opportunity to get closer than they did in that opportunity.
I don't know. I knew you would bring this up early in the podcast, right when I was watching Plumlee on multiple possessions back to back, to where he would put himself in good position to rebound. Like he would even give up a floater here or there, give up some spacing to where the guy can actually get a good shot off. Maybe it was G.G. Jackson the third. Or the second, excuse me. There was some thirds out there today. I think it was Marvin Bagley the third. Yeah, but
yes.
G.G. Jackson is the second. So he was out there just feeling it, right? So you give him some space, and he misses a shot. But Plumlee over and over again put himself in good position, but he didn't have it enough in him to go grab those boards. So obviously I know we're going to bring it up. And the thing is, it's kind of hard to even think about or to realize like we're going to have to like really talk about these guys and how much we rely on them to get a rebound at the end of the game, to give us a victory, to make a big shot on the other end. I just think that, they have been playing a lot better, both of them. But the way that Richards and I think Plumlee's been phenomenal, right? Obviously,
he's been playing well. It's like 15-7 in his last 4 games. Yeah, I mean that's nothing to scoff at. No, I understand that.
He's had a few reverse dunks in the past few games. We love his reverse dunks.
Oh, nothing better.
Richards is a perfect guy for this game, though.
That's
the aggression he had, getting the technical, like getting pissed off. Like usually I don't like guys getting pissed off. I'm like, oh, they're just kind of like they're throwing off your game. They're playing the mental game with you. Don't give into it. But I was frustrated just watching him getting manhandled all the time and nothing being called from those refs. Like the refs kind of let go of this game after a while. They kind of let the Grizzlies do whatever they want. There was
that's how they play, right? They're just going to keep fouling, knowing that you can't call every foul.
But the thing is, they were doing some things I feel like the refs are just kind of letting them get away with. Like Ja Morant, after the time that Richards got his technical, he came up and slapped his hands like that in front of Richards. Nothing was called.
Well, after on that same play, and maybe this is what you're referencing, Richards gets teed up, and Ja Morant goes right up to him and just goes. He throws a tee in his face.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he throws a tee. That should be exactly, a technical. Right. That's taunting.
And he was looking right at him in the eye.
Yes.
And Richards wasn't looking at Ja, but Ja was looking right at him. And that's a technical every time. So the Grizzlies, I usually don't do this. I don't care about the reffing, whatever. But the Grizzlies were giving away with a lot of stuff. And towards the end of the game, it kind of piled up to where it was just like the Suns were just kind of sick of it. I love the fact that Richards got the technical. I like the fact that even though Booker and KD couldn't back it up, they were talking shit.
I love the fact that they both were chirping the way that they were. We need that fire. Yes.
Yeah, Booker threw the P word. I don't want to say it on live TV, but he said it at Bane. But then when that happened, I'm like, oh, let's go. Let's win this. I felt something as a Suns fan when that was happening. I want to win this game now, but obviously it didn't happen.
Well, and again, I think that's kind of the frustrating part right now is you take a look at these last 4 games for the Suns, and they're playing well and with a spark and with some fire, right? They beat the Clippers. They lose to Denver. They beat Dallas. They lose to Memphis. But in every one of the games, there's this level of intensity and energy that we're seeing from this team that, again, it's just like this sigh of like, I do declare, if this team had only done this the entire season,
I know.
I declare bankruptcy. So it's one of those things where you're seeing the fire and the spark. And sometimes that's all it takes is a little spark can lead to a flame. And that flame can become a wildfire of emotion or of momentum. And it's unfortunate because, again, the Suns just couldn't get over that hump. And that was that key period for me. When was it over? That's when it was over, in my opinion, was when we couldn't 108, 104. That's when it was over.
Yeah.
Tell me something good. Tell me something good.
Come on, Matthew, tell me something good.
Yeah, and for me, really quick, I didn't even give my when it was over. I thought it was over when Booker and then we're talking crap, and Booker and KD just come out flat after that. I'm like, okay, we're not going to win this game. Something really good about this game, I like Nick Richards a lot in this game. I think he's been playing really good where the stats look good, but he's been really good on the pick and roll, just really finding open spots for his teammates to find him on the roll, and obviously being very available down low, to get second chance points if possible. But even the alley-oops they're out of control now. I haven't seen this many alley-oops piling up in the past 2 games from Nick Richards and from any Suns player in a long time. And it's nice to see even the alley-oops from beyond the 3-point line from the Suns. So Ty has found them a few times. I like the fact that he is just kind of getting angry. He's finding himself in this position now as a Suns center where he seems comfortable in that starting role. I know he's not a starting center, but he just seems really comfortable with himself there. I never really find myself saying, like, what the fuck are you doing too much? He had a few plays today where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's not a constant thing. Everyone's going to have their lapses like KD does all the time, like Booker does all the time. But Richards really seems like he's at home right now in that starting center position. So good job by him again tonight. And I am, like you said, I usually don't care, but I am pissed that he didn't finish the game for the Suns because he played tremendous.
Vicky, the great Nick Richards. Richard means Dick, that's why he's Vicky, the great Nick Richards.
I just realized that's the old drop that still has him in Charlotte. I have
like
my
that.
New drop. I'm with you 100% there. And as I was watching this game, one thing I thought of is obviously thinking forward to next season, to the 2025-26 Suns, that he's under contract. We have him this year for $5 million. We have him next year for $5 million. And I like the fact that he's going to be on this team next year. And if we can have him as a backup center, I think it's something that's going to be very beneficial for this team because of a lot of the intangibles that he's brought that we've witnessed this season. And I like Nick Richards, and I think that he's a valuable asset for this team moving forward into the next season. So we'll see what the Suns do this offseason. We'll see how they navigate free agency and the trade market and all that fun stuff. But my hope is that we have Nick Richards going into next season, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And, I got to kind of hold back a little bit because I mentioned where the Suns team is going to kind of grab you in certain ways heading towards the end of the season where you're looking forward to seeing these players next year. I love Nick Richards, what he brings. If he is, like you said, a backup, that would be great. I don't ever want to get to the point, though, even no matter how good he is, to think of like he could be our starting center because I still feel like he won't really reach that ceiling, but who knows? But I'm just saying if he does at the end of the season, I don't want to think like, oh, he could be our starter just because if the Suns are maybe 3 or 4 games out of the play-in and other teams see the Suns as someone like, hey, we can just roll over, he's going to have good stats. He's going to look good at certain times. And if other teams are missing their bigs like tonight against the Grizzlies, he's going to look good. We just have to remember who he really is. And I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to keep him at the backup position. And for that much money, I think he's a perfect guy.
I completely agree. And that's what I was thinking about in that context. And yes, that is something good, was Nick Richards in this game. But again, Mike Budenholzer just completely out of his ass, doesn't make an adjustment, is so in love with Mason Plumlee. And I get, again, I said it earlier, but I understand the fundamental aspects and why he might have an affinity for him. But man, make the goddamn adjustment. Speaking of lack of adjustments. Dun, 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 dun. 28 total seconds played by Ryan Dunn. That's it. And I know that there's a lot of metrics that talk about his offensive inefficiencies. You know, he's shooting under 30% from beyond the arc since January 1st. That is no small sample size. But you brought him in for like one play at the very end for defensive reasons, and he immediately forces the Grizzlies to throw the ball out of bounds. They gave the Suns a chance. Like one play, he comes in and has a defensive impact. He played 2 plays in this game. The last play of the second half and the last play of the first half. With a team that is so desperate to have an effective point of attack of defender, I don't know why he doesn't get more playing time. I'm just befuddled.
I am too. And offensively, I know he's not really there and he's not going to hit shots. But I hate the lineups they throw out there. Well, first of all, he went to a spring training game with Kevin Durant. So come on, he
Yeah.
has to be in the starting line, or not starting line, but he has to get some minutes just due to that fact. KD's not going to go to a game with a guy that doesn't get minutes. Like now, KD might feel a little bit embarrassed and like delete those videos because he's like, oh, whoops.
He's like, hey, son, social media, can you take those down? Like,
Yeah, don't post that, even though it's about his family. I think that, these lineups are thrown out there with like Grayson Allen, Gillespie, and Royce O'Neal. Like, do we really have to have those three guys that can hit threes if they're wide open, guys that can hit shots, even if Tyus is in there with those guys? I just don't. I think you need to mix it up. You need to throw Ryan Dunn in there. Have a guy that can get down in the paint on shots or even loose balls, or get in there defensively and just kind of
give
mess
me a
things
disruptor.
up. Yeah, you need something other than these
disruptor.
guys around the perimeter that are just going to shoot threes. Like, it gets frustrating to see those lineups roll out. Like, when you ask, like, when is this game over? When I see it inbound to Tyus, you got Royce and Grayson Allen too. Like, I don't like that. I think it's too much of the same thing out there.
Yes.
That's how they're being used. Is just guys that can shoot threes.
And I get it, and I understand where people are coming from when they talk about what you're talking about. Well, if Ryan Dunn's out there, the ball's ultimately going to find his hand on offense because that's what defenses want to happen. They want to have the worst shooter shoot. It's like Josh Okogie a few years ago. But there's such an upside to Ryan Dunn. There's such an opportunity, and there's development that needs to occur so he continues to try to gain confidence. Because I will say this, like his 3-point shot, it looks good. It just doesn't go in. I think he's got a great base from a shooting standpoint. The way that he holds the ball, the release, everything about his mechanics are good. It's just not going in. He needs an opportunity to get out there and develop that offensive confidence. And you're going to get somebody who can give you point of attack defense. Tell me that him on Ja tonight isn't something that you'd love to see. I would love to see Ja versus Dunn and see what happens, knowing that Memphis is going to try to switch out of it. But even if that's the case, he's a great weak side defender who can recover well. He's got a great second jump, so he can go up for a block attempt or go up and grab a rebound. There's just a lot of those intangibles that, the challenge with Phoenix this season has been their defense and their rebounding. And you get rid of Nurkic, who's your best rim protector and your best rebounder. And then another guy who plays defense and rebound is sitting on the bench all for 28 seconds the entire game. It's just piss poor roster management and execution of what you've been provided by Budenholzer. And it's just another thing that kind of frustrates me. I don't know if it wins the game. I don't know if we lose the game even by more points. I don't know. But at some point, there's going to be a come to Jesus moment where we might have 10 games left in the season, and the Suns might be 8 games under 500, and there's no opportunity to make the play-in. Maybe then Bud will finally go, you know what? I'm going to give this kid a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things too where defensively you want him to come in and kind of cause a ruckus, but also it's the fact that when these guys can't make shots, even when Booker and KD, you don't believe in them to make shots. These are the times you need to put guys in there that can just create a play like a fast break, or just, a fast break leading on 3-on-2 or 3-on-1, or maybe get a corner 3 on a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-1, just a fast break dunk to get your guys back into the game. Like, this guy can cause that. He can make it so that, hey, he can cause a travel. He can cause a offensive foul. He can cause a backcourt violation. He can just do these little things where you guys are just where the Suns cannot hit a shot, and there's no confidence in those guys to get anything done. You can't just keep counting these guys that should sit back and knock down threes. Like, you need to turn it in a different way to where they can feel a different kind of energy than just sitting back and launching the three and just brick by brick by brick until they have to make a three to win the game. And it's just too little too late, because you have a KD who's just absolutely cold, had a great game, but there's no confidence in these guys to hit a shot late in the game. So it's just it's a weird thing to do by Bud. I can't stand it anymore. Before, I was like, Dunn's not going to win us a game or anything, but it's getting to the point, this is ridiculous, where people are like, Dunn's not playing? Like, why is he not in? Like, it's asked every game I'm watching. So I just can't.
And what he could do is he could give you a couple extra possessions a game. That's all I'm looking for. Because you look at this game, and that's the difference. We lost by 2 points. They had 101 possessions in this game. We had 100. You can't tell me that 5 minutes of Ryan Dunn doesn't give you a couple extra possessions that could potentially sway this game. And that's just kind of, again, this is something that I'm regurgitating what a lot of Suns fans are feeling right now. But as we come to the back end of the season, we talked about Nick Richards. And the excitement of seeing him play as well as he did today and as well as he's played recently, knowing that he has the potential to be our backup center next year. I mean, we're in that mindset. We're scouting for next year. Ryan Dunn is somebody who I just want to see at this point. I don't have faith in this team making the play-in. I don't. Dallas won tonight.
Dallas won today. Yep.
Okay. So that game that we made
right.
up yesterday by beating them, it's gone. We're back to 2.5 games behind them in the standings. And we're getting close to that breaking point, right? That magic number. There's 17 games left. And we might not even make the play-in. So we might, just try something different. I did want to throw some stats at you.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
Bradley Beal once again did not play tonight. This was the 20th game that he has missed thus far this season. So here's some stats on that for you. The Suns are now 10-10 in games in which he is not present. And what's interesting is the Suns, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they're 9-3 in games which he's not present. So entering this one, they were 9-2, and they almost had a chance to win it. They're 9-3 in games where Bradley Beal isn't present. What do you think of that?
Well, it backs up everything we've been saying about Beal. It definitely has everything to do with he's just another guy that can shoot and score. Like when you're coming into this game and the Grizzlies are missing Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark, those are two guys I'm like, oh, that's going to hurt Memphis. Like if we're missing Bradley Beal, we have other guys that can hit big shots. So, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal if he is missing games anymore. So I can see why the record looks that way. It looks so sexy at 9-3 right now.
And I'll pull up Eddie Yee's comment. Do we win if Beal was playing?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'm sorry. It's just.
And again, this is why my frustration with the Suns and the way they've gone, and I will regurgitate this for the next 10 years, Matthew, on this podcast, is the wrong move is when they were driving down the road and Matt Ishbia is driving the car and he's got Devin Booker sitting shotgun. They pull over to the side of the road and they say, come on, KD, get in here. And then they continue to drive down the road and then they pull over and they're like, oh my God, you're Bradley Beal, get in here. But what they did is when they got Bradley Beal in there, the car broke down. And they don't have the money to fix it. And that's where they're at right now. And I will continue to think that Bradley Beal, for all the good that he brings as a human being, is what ruined this team because, again, and I have to look up the stat because I want to see what the stat is since Beal came here. Because this year, they're 9-3. I want to know what it was last year as well. So that'll be something I'll look up. And once I find that stat, I'll write an article on Bright Side of the Sun about it. But unfortunate. It's just kind of the way that it goes.
It really is
for us Suns fans. Let's see. Let's talk a little Kevin Durant here. Little Kevin Durant action. Where the fuck is the drop? Oh, it's not. No. I can never find. We've got too many goddamn drops. It just be Kevin Durant, right? What's that?
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
There it is. Matthew found it. Thank you for that, Matthew.
You're welcome. So when I
41 minutes played for KD, 11 of 24 for 35 points. He was 7 of 9 from beyond the arc, just cooking. Had he been 8 of 9, we would have won this game. 5 total assists, 5 total rebounds, only 3 turnovers, 1 block shot. Another masterclass by Kevin Durant, man. And 1 pointed finger at Cam Spencer and 1 forehead-to-forehead interaction with Desmond Bane. What did you see in this one?
No, I like that. This is a weird thing to say, but like when KD is that way, usually it's in the past like Patrick Beverly. He usually only picks on the smaller guys because he's so big. Like when he's looking down at people, it's hilarious. I love the fact that he can get into it with some guys. I just really wish he would have finished it off there with that 3.
Yes.
Like I said I thought it was over when they came back a little bit flat after the trash talking, but Kevin Durant like hitting 7 in that 3, I really thought it was going to go in. And it was going to be a victory for the Suns because this was a perfect game where they just showed, like you said, like that grit, the talk, a little bit of a punishment to the Grizzlies at times and calling them the P word and just kind of backing it up at times. That was just nice to see from this team. If he was able to hit that shot and actually get the 38 points, that would have been perfect. But 20 points in the first half, it looks great. I love the fact that this team, at times it looks like they do everything right around Kevin Durant, like moving the ball. Like the ball movement's just so great in the first half, the first quarter especially.
Yeah.
And like it just really frees up KD where everyone's kind of worried about everybody else. So KD can kind of settle in and get his shots as difficult as it used to be early in the season. And that's what you're seeing a lot of lately, where Kevin Durant, it looks like an easier game for him when he wants to pick and choose. But like I said, like it's just sucks that he didn't miss that one. But it was a great game by him tonight.
Yeah, 100%. Everything you said, and that aggression, that fire, that will to win, and getting booed. I love that. I love having a player who goes out there and gets booed because he's firing up the opposing team and getting underneath their skin. So it just sucks because it's another great Kevin Durant game that's just going to go by the wayward in another loss for the Suns. But it does get him kind of a step closer to chasing Chambers, that 27.2. You know, you need games like this. You need some 35-point performances to surpass Tom Chambers in the 27.2 points per game season average. There was a report today by Dwayne Rankin from the Arizona Republic saying that the Suns, if they're going to trade Kevin Durant this upcoming offseason, are looking for 3 first-round draft picks and a young core player. Do you think he can garner that kind of return? I know I'm getting ahead of ourselves, and I said we won't talk about this shit till after the season, but
Yeah.
I saw the report today, and I want to get your thoughts.
Well, you know, I think he can. It's if like, do you think that that's enough? Like, who's a young player? I obviously was really a big fan of the trade package they had ready to go. I don't think they're going to be able to top that this offseason.
No, they won't.
That's the downside of it all. I think we had a good trade package for KD, and as great as he is, I just think that was the time to do it. Because you had like the young guy, you had the old guy doesn't play with the book, and then you had a center and you had some picks. So it was a nice deal. I don't know. What do you think on this one? Is it too much, you think? I don't know if we're gonna get that much, right?
I don't know. That's the challenge
Tough.
because the leverage starts to go the other way. Kevin Durant has 1 year left on his contract. So the leverage starts to go, you know, teams that are inquiring can sit there and be like, hey, man, like, we're not going to give you all that for a 1 year rental. Now, granted, the report said that they're most likely involved 3 teams. So the Suns and 2 teams, obviously, that makes 3. Yeah. That would make that trade happen. And in that case, there could be an opportunity to get kind of a solid return. But I continue, at least at this point, to be in the camp of, dude, we gotta, you know, KD signs an extension this upcoming off season. It's for another year. We have 2 more years of KD, 2 more years of Book. Please, Bradley Beal, please just leave. Please leave,
I know,
man.
you know. So obviously, KD's gonna want to be traded, right? After everything that he's been through,
Probably.
and the fans and all that. Like, it just it kind of sucks because obviously, if Beal's willing to move and we get something back for him, that's the way you want to go. That's the first thing that we had to do, and we couldn't get done. Now that Kevin Durant knows about all this and knows that he was going to be traded, he obviously doesn't want to stick around. So that hurts us definitely. Obviously, I want him, but you just have to have better pieces around these guys. I don't know. It's going to be a difficult offseason for sure. And it's going to be funny if he does pass that scoring record, the average, that's going to be funny. He's going to leave here and be like, that's what you guys get.
It'd be funny because it would happen in the same year. So currently he holds the scoring average all time for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And only one player in all of the NBA holds the record for 2 teams, right? It's Wilt Chamberlain. He holds the all-time scoring record of single season average for Philadelphia and Golden State. So if Kevin Durant would get to that 27.2, he would own it in Phoenix, but it happens the same year that SGA takes it in Oklahoma City. So go get it, Kevin Durant.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's way the word. That's going to be weird how that works out.
Well, let's not talk about that. And let's go back to talking about
Look, up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Bol Bol, motherfucker.
All right, here's another one. I don't understand you, Coach Bud. Don't understand you. Bol Bol, 16 minutes in this one, 3 of 7, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. He didn't have any rebounds, but he had 7 points, and the team was a +3 in the minutes he played. He also had a block shot. Size was their issue. Why didn't we continue to play Bol Bol in this game?
I haven't been the biggest fan of Bol Bol lately, but little side note, Tim Hardaway Jr. was talking about how Bol Bol has the same game as Victor Wembanyama. Could we still stop saying
Can
this?
we stop that shit?
I hate hearing that because it's like, wait, does he? Like, do we not see it? There's just something about Bol I can't stand right now. I can't. And there's
I'm
multiple
the
times
opposite
tonight-
right now.
Really, it's funny. I feel like we always flip flop on this.
Yes.
I just find myself, maybe because I'm just frustrated at the game sometimes when Memphis is coming back and there's no timeouts called. So I'm just yelling at Bol Bol, let him go off of my frustration more. That's at Bud, but it goes towards Bol Bol. But there's just plays where I'm just like, dude, this guy has to stop playing with his shorts and adjusting his shorts all the time, standing over there in the corner. Like, that's what I'm paying attention to. Like, get into the fucking play. Go use your size. Do something, man. Like, that's the frustrating part I have. Like, he still doesn't show the confidence he should with all the minutes he's getting. And he's just kind of frustrating me to where I'm feeling a little bit let down with the dude. Sorry.
And see, I'm the other side. I feel like the confidence is there. He's putting the ball on the floor. He's dribbling. He's getting to spots. He's spot up shooting. And he does something that I wish more NBA players would do. He follows his shot. Like, he'll shoot a three, and maybe that's a lack of confidence thing, but he'll follow it up and then go and try to get the rebound in case he misses it. And I just wish that more people would do that in the NBA, because so many people just stand there with that arrogant, I made it. They start walking back on defense. It's like a huge brick. It's like, dude, you could have impacted the game in a positive manner by being a disruptor in there, by trying to grab the rebound. So I like what I'm seeing from Bol Bol right now. I wish we'd see actually a little bit more of him. I think that he's doing a lot of these little things right. And everybody has holes in their game, especially members of the Phoenix Suns. So why not give me more Bol Bol in this one? Why not? He's got his holes, but he does have an upside from an offensive player that we could utilize. But I guess you got to give those minutes to somehow. It's like it's got to be Plumlee minutes or something,
To Royce to go stand also in the corner and shoot three. I'm sorry, he stuns him like more the elbow. But
he's an elbow. He's an elbow 3-pointer shooter.
Bol Bol definitely has been. It's been a good story that he's been getting consistent starting minutes. I think that's great. I think Bud's doing the right thing to just stay with these guys and stop switching it up, and I like that about it. But the fact that Bol Bol will hit some games and not some games for me, that's the frustrating part, just because I feel like I should be better with this. I should be just constantly supporting this guy, and I let it slip tonight to where I was annoyed of Bol Bol, and I shouldn't be. Sorry, Jamsters.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Big Dick Booker.
All right, BDB in this one. 26 points on 9 of 21 shooting. 3 of 8. He had a rough shooting night, especially in that first quarter. First quarter, he went 0 of 4. Second quarter, he was 3 of 6. And then the second half, Booker was 6 of 11. So that first half where he was 3 of 10 really hurt him. But 26 points, 9 total rebounds, 6 assists, 5 turnovers. What did you think of Booker's shoes, man?
I didn't notice them. I never noticed.
Dude, second game in a row.
Bad with it.
So he wore the penny 5. So essentially, what he does, like I've got this is a question I will ask Devin Booker next time I see him, is about the design and the care that goes into the book ones, because he's got all these player editions, and the penny 5s are the Nikes that Anthony Hardaway wore when he came to Phoenix in like 1999. And Booker remade them to their book ones, but they're penny ones, and it has the 1 cent logo on it. They're beautiful shoes. I don't know if I'd ever wear them. I don't know if I could wear them. I don't have anything that matches them because they've got the gradient on the bottom, but they're just a beautiful pair of shoes. He wore them yesterday. He wore them today in Memphis, where Penny Hardaway is from. But outside of his shoes, what else did you see from him this game?
Well, I think he should be wearing like just non-slip socks out there, dude. I don't care about the shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sick of all his shoes, but I have to check them out. So I will after this. Tonight's game, it was good at sometimes, but excuse me. I think I'm getting sick. This sucks.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, here it comes, dude.
Ooh.
The fact that, last game he was incredible. I thought, like, we've been seeing like a real book. He's been in a way a leader on the team. He's been like kind of the number one at times during the game. I feel like more than 50% of the game. When KD's hot, obviously, let him take it over. But Book is kind of just in my mind, like the stats might look about the same. Like they might look about the same game to game. Maybe on back-to-backs, not as good as the second game. But he's really on the floor, showing to me with the body language that he's looking kind of like the guy that I want him to start the season out as. Like, kind of, I wanted to say the alpha before last pod. I did say
fuck you to him.
Yeah, I think who said fuck you?
No, like Book has some fuck you to him right now.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I thought he said fuck you to him. I'm like, who was he
No.
talking? No, yeah, there's definitely that. It's kind of like he's just aggravated out there, but also you can kind of tell that I think the game plan just kind of changed to where it's more in his favor now than Kevin Durant. And I think he's taking advantage of that. This team's playing with more poise. They just seem like they're riding his shoulders. They're kind of feeding off of that, which is nice that you want to see that from the teammates. And that's why these games aren't really blowouts anymore. I feel like obviously in the past, these games would be over by the third quarter. We're finding ourselves in the 2 minutes, 1 minute left where we actually have a chance to win these games. I think that has a lot to do with the way Book he's been handling this team and just kind of being that leader.
Yep, and hopefully it's transferable to next year. That's all we can hope for. And I see a lot of people in the chat, like Seth, is the mugging was insane, straight up Spurs flashbacks. Saul, the way that they can handle him is crazy. They kept grabbing him, and refs don't call anything. And again, that's what happens when you play Memphis. They're a team that is constantly applying pressure to you, knowing that they're not going to. The officials can't call everything, or they'd have nobody on the court. And shout out to a Grizzlies fan who came in here and said, "This is the saltiest podcast out here. Came here as a Memphis fan to learn about the Suns and the things you guys see with your team. All I've heard is saltiness about the Grizz. Classy."
That's all we got.
Yeah.
That's all we have is
so he watched like the first 3 minutes of the podcast, then hear us like railing on our head coach for the next 15 minutes. Like, thanks for stopping by, man.
Hey, I picked the Grizzlies to win the championship, dude. If you're still here.
I know, and you picked them to win, but you picked them to lose this game, right?
I picked the Suns to win this game, yeah.
Yeah. You picked the Grizzlies to lose, and I picked the Grizzlies to win. And I will say this. It's something I've been saying, and I put my money where my mouth was. Bet the Suns to win the first half. Bet the opposing team to win the game. Yeah. And that hit today, plus 454. Suns will have 59, 57 at the half, and then lost by 2 at the end. So it all worked out for me. I put $1 down, and I got $4 out of it.
All right, I'll start listening to you on that.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like cousin Sal's Steelers bet, right? Steelers up at half, but Steelers to lose the game, or opposite. Steelers down at half, Steelers win.
That's what I was to say. I think it's opposite, right? Yeah.
Same thing with the Suns.
Yep.
Were you in Memphis tonight?
I was for a little bit.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right.
What's up?
I said, all right. Matthew was in Memphis. What was going on their subreddit? Tell me about more of their fans who come in here calling us salty. You have the most annoying thing to watch in the NBA.
Yeah, they do. And I don't
eat my butthole.
They have a lot of love for every player on here. They've been losing their mojo lately, so it looks like they think they got it back now that they beat the Suns. Which
you can eat my boogers.
I know that's a good thing. So Cam Spencer, I guess, was doing an interview after the game, and someone was commenting, Cam has a lisp apparently.
Oh.
Someone else says, have you guys ever heard Cam before? So they went on and on about the way he was talking. So I gotta check it out because it's always funny when you picture a guy, especially in the NBA, the way they talk, and then they do talk like a Patrick Mahomes or even Karl Anthony Towns. You know what I mean? It's different sometimes. So you're like, oh, okay, it didn't fit his body and his face, but. This Durant guy's pretty good at basketball. They should get him a rookie contract on the hustle. I don't know. I just see that in there because it's so stupid, dude. Bane was just telling Durant he should have joined up with us. Like, what do you think, though? If they would have traded like their young guys for Durant, you think that would have been a good idea? This Memphis team, you think that's what they needed was a Kevin Durant?
I don't know.
I don't know. It didn't seem too.
I honestly don't. I think that. It's kind of like the Houston situation. And you're going to see that a lot with teams right now as the season comes to an end. A lot of teams want KD this offseason. They're all talking about it in the subreddits. And I don't know. Kevin Durant's a dog, so maybe he would fit in there. I don't know.
He might have. Okay, so they talked about the refs, and I hated the reffing tonight. That was awful. Both sides, both ways. It just was garbage. Fuck a bunch of offset techs. So offsetting technicals, obviously when the push happened.
Yeah.
That's what it should have just been, and just stop it. What are you reviewing? Like what they're saying to each other? Just give them text and move on, dude. The modern NBA is too much slapdick energy. Don't fucking tech D-Book for that. I don't even like D-Book, man. But fuck let the Kuntz get competitive. This isn't golf. It's totally true. Like they teed him up right away, and I don't know, man. They kind of
his face. He's got one of those faces they like to tee up.
Yeah, I just think the refs were just off and on tonight, just in a bad way. Refs need to stop these shitty ass texts for trash talking. P League, The PUSSY. Yeah. That's all I had. It was pretty good thread though.
You want to hear Cam Spencer talk?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, here we go.
To all 10 guys that were there tonight.
One of the sparks in the building was when you said something to Kevin Durant. Can you share with us what you said to Kevin?
Nah, that day's on the court. Not good for TV.
Hey, he's playing with John.
Oh, he has fake teeth.
Yeah, that's what it looks
false
like.
Teeth. So he talks like Tom Brady, kind of like, and he looks like a ventriloquist doll, doesn't he?
He's like,
Yeah,
I talk things to Katie.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
All right, Matthew, anything else you had in your notes?
Nothing for me.
Let's take a look here. The Suns are now 3-9 on the second night of back-to-backs this season, and they have 2 more back-to-backs this season. So that's nice. And
2 more losses, and the rest are
that's 2 more losses there. Yeah, that's all I really have. Let's hand out some.
Jam star of the game.
You know, I went to the dentist today. And you ever been to the dentist?
Yeah.
You know how they've got that little curvy thing, that suction they put in the side of your mouth, for slobber and such? Has your dentist ever asked you to hold that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've had to hold it. Yeah.
I've never, the first time ever. I've been going to the same guy twice now.
You're like,
and he's like, hold this. So like the whole time I'm like laying back, like my arm's starting to shake. He's like, you doing good? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, I'm good. I can.
He just leaves you in there.
He's
like, I gotta go. I'll be right back. Like 20 minutes later.
He did though. Like somebody came in, like he was running the front desk or something. He like left for a while. I'm sitting there with like this thing. I'm like,
Oh, that's awkward, dude.
But he's got a TV up top, and I was just like looking at this island, just wanting to go on vacation. But I've never had to hold the vacuum spitter thingy.
Yeah, I've had to hold it. And I've had to hold like the thing that spreads your cheeks apart and stuff. The other cheeks.
You had to hold it?
Yeah.
Terrifying. But who do you give the camp star to?
I think I'm going to give it to Nick Richards tonight. I liked him tonight. Only 16 minutes, but I think even though KD
hell of an impact, man.
KD was great. He was impeccable, but
Suns Fever 83 gives it to KD.
Richards.
KD for sure from Saul. Juan Carlos Arenado, without a doubt, KD. KD Jam Star absolutely from Seth. KD from Kiko, and I'm going to go KD as well. And Nick Richards, though, I mean, had he played, 32 minutes, he would have had double the stats. He'd be on his way to being Jokic, man. Up next for the Phoenix Suns, we're heading to Houston on Wednesday. Another 5 o'clock game. Kind of like these 5 o'clock games. It's only 8:44 right now.
I do like it, yeah.
What do you think? Playing Houston, a team that Amen Thompson just went down with an injury. So,
see, this is what I was talking about, right? Last pod. Like these teams, they're going to have injuries. And then when we play the Lakers, LeBron might not be playing either.
No, he won't be. He's out for like 1 to 2 weeks. And that's what, Sunday or something?
Yeah. And
but can we capitalize? We should have capitalized today.
I know. Maybe the back-to-back was too much to finish, and that's why we weren't making shots late in the game to kind of close them out because we had an opportunity. They get the rest they need. I think, obviously, Amen Thompson, he was at a point, right? Would you trade Amen Thompson for like Kevin Durant? That was like on the Bill Simmons podcast. But now it's like, he kind of did fall down to earth a little bit. His other twin did catch up to him. I like the fact that the Suns might be playing more up and down. It's not going to be such a slow grind. I want to kind of see this team run again. So let's see how that looks. But obviously, I don't think they're going to win this game. I think this was the game I picked them to win. I didn't think they're going to beat the Rockets.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to beat the Rockets either. Another team that's very Grizzlies-esque, I feel. They play with pace. They play with defense. Although their defense has faltered some since the All-Star break, they still have that tenacity. And then Dylan Brooks is there just to be a douche. So it's going to be a game where I'm going to have to pull up the old highlight of Dylan Brooks being a douchebag and then go from there. So,
childhood trauma.
We got a few minutes left. We haven't done a childhood trauma in a long time. When was the last time we talked about our traumatic childhoods? What should we talk about?
Do you think there's ever a time about like sickness, like the worst sickness you ever had?
Oh, 100%. I can tell you the worst sickness. Do you want to go first or second?
I don't know if I have one, but if you have one, I can think of
100%. So I was, if I math it out right, I was probably like 10 or 11. I was living in Simi Valley, California at the time. And for dinner one night, you know how I don't like lasagna, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the story on how
I know the story, actually.
Okay, this is how I started hating lasagna. And my mom made lasagna that night, and then I got really sick to my stomach, and I started hallucinating. I believed that the carpet was ants, and I remember I was like feeling sick, and I had to go to the bathroom to like go throw up, and being so terrified to like walk across the hall from my room into the bathroom. And then when I finally mustered up the courage to do it, I remember I threw towels down on the ground and walked across the towel to get to the bathroom. And I went there and I threw up, and I remember just like curling up against the thing and not wanting to go back to my room. And I was in that bathroom for like 3-4 hours. Like I slept there last night because I didn't want to have to go back, because in my mind there was ants everywhere and the carpet was ants, and it was just terrifying. And ever since then, and it was like something, the taste of the way that the cheese and the noodles and the smell, there's a smell to lasagna that I've gotten over. Like I eat lasagna, your family makes lasagna for the holidays, and it's actually really, really good. But for the longest time in my life, I would not touch lasagna because whatever, like my mom she must have dropped some mushroom, like the wrong kind of mushrooms.
I was just going to say,
you know, like I was tripping fucking balls as like a 10-year-old, you know. It's what it felt like, man. It was like
acid chips in there.
So to this day, it's so vivid. I remember like how I felt with the whole thing. So that's one of the worst times that I got sick to the point. And we typically all have that story, right? We all have that story of getting sick, and then like we can never eat a food again, right? Like, is there any food you don't eat because you got sick one time and you threw it up?
Oh, you know what? Sushi always kind of makes me sick to my stomach.
Really?
I've never thrown it up, but yeah, I have to be really in the mood for sushi. And I do like to go to the revolving like.
Oh, that's why, dude. You don't go to Teharu.
Yeah.
Go to Sushi Brokers. Yeah, because that shit's gross, dude.
It's like eat gross sushi from Safeway. Like,
so we went there's a revolving sushi bar close to our house, and we went to it one time, and like I picked up the plate, and like a little cockroach, like a baby cockroach, like climbed on the plate, or it was on the plate. And like I showed the lady, and she's like, "Oh, that's not good." And she like walked away. I'm like, "That's it?" Like
she's like, "How'd you get away?"
Yeah, exactly. I haven't been back since.
Ew, that is disgusting.
Dude, are you serious, man? Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
I know, like my older sister, she won't eat Fritos because she got really sick one time off of. You ever had Gut Busters?
No.
Gut Busters is like chili, Fritos, and cheese. Oh, they're delicious. Sour cream. Oh, so good. But something my mom used to make, that trash used to give us as kids, and my sister got sick off it, and she'll never eat Fritos. She'll never
eat it again. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think. Nothing's ever made me that sick to where I can't eat it again. Yeah, I don't think I really have a story. I mean, I got a bad migraine once, whatever. But I think that it's funny when we were younger, though, and we used to get sick and throw up. Our dad used to make us clean it up. So that was a thing. He would get so mad and make us clean it up. Especially there was a time with Stephanie that happened. Oh no, that was Shannon, I think, where he got mad. It was like, clean it up, because she was throwing up all over the kitchen or something. Oh my god, dude. But nothing horrific. I just thought it was a funny thing because I feel like I'm getting sick. So.
Well, we used to have this white pan, and last time I was at my mom's house, it's still there. It's like this white pot. And over the years, I mean, it's 40 years old, and you know, it's got like cracks and rust on the side. And that was like the throw up pot. Like if you ever had to throw up, my mom would just put the pot next to the bed, and she's like, if you throw up in that thing. It's like, as you know, being one of 5 kids, there's so much yukin that went into that little white pot, and it's still in my mom's house. I'm like, I always
autograph it and put it up on the shelf or something.
No. You guys should. No, when my mom passes away, we're all gonna fight over it. Like, who gets the puke pot, man?
Dude, that's delicate.
Oh man, Seth in the chat says, "Fever as a kid, my hands felt like 2 balloons. Now I got that feeling once again. I can't explain. You would not understand. This is not how I am."
What?
No, John, not quite like that, says Fumer Eloso. You should talk to your mom about that lasagna incident. I have. I've talked to my mom on numerous occasions. Love her to death. Always have been very critical of her cooking. I just think she was a bad cook. You know, it's okay. Like, not everyone's made to cook. There's only a couple things that my mom makes fantastic. My favorite thing that my mom makes, she used to make it like on Sunday mornings, called eggs goldenrod. You ever had eggs goldenrod?
I feel like your mom makes up names for food. Like, why would I ever have these things?
I have no idea. Well, she used to always, you know, tell. I loved it. So you get toast. It's kind of like shit on a shingle, but it's toast, and then you make like a white sauce, right? And that white sauce you put in salt, pepper, and then mustard seed powder.
Okay.
And then you put in hard-boiled eggs. So you take hard-boiled eggs, you chop them up, and you put the white part in the white sauce, and then the yellow part of the yolk you mash up in a bowl on the side, and then you get a piece of toast. You put the white sauce on it, and then you put the yellow stuff sprinkled on top, and it's delicious. You eat it with like a knife and a fork, and it was like my birthday morning. That was always my breakfast, and my mom used to always tell me, she's like, "Yeah, an old boyfriend taught me this recipe."
Oh gosh, her and her old boyfriend.
I was like, "Dad, is that my real dad?"
Yeah, it might have been.
But
See
anyways,
a picture of him?
what's the sickest you've ever been?
Podcast.
Future or being a kid or not?
The sickest I've ever been was my first migraine, or when I got a concussion, and I think the migraine followed right after. That was intense, and every migraine after that was that bad. But,
how old were you when you got your first migraine?
I think I was 10.
Oh man,
I was 10. Yeah.
Was it debilitating? Like were you just like, what's going on?
Yeah, I didn't
fell
know
to the floor.
So I hit my head playing basketball, and then we went to go eat at Denny's after. And I remember before I went in, I was like, I can't move. Like my head hurts so bad. And everyone's like, come on, let's give you some ibuprofen. I'm like, no, dude. And then we went to the emergency room. I was crying. I was I thought I was dying, dude. And I was throwing up everywhere. And the light sensitivity, all that shit. It was pretty.
Was your dad asking you to clean up the throw up in the hospital? He's like, clean that out, boy.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He can do it himself. Yeah.
Well, I hope you're not getting sick. Again, I was sick last week. I don't know if it was like food poison or something, but like my stomach hurt so bad. I woke up in the morning. I went to work. I was at work, and like on the drive to work, I got a coffee and a breakfast burrito from Salad and Go, and a chicken Caesar salad to have for lunch. And like as I was driving, I took a couple sips of my coffee, and I was like, my stomach started hurting. I was like, oh, maybe I'm like drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Maybe that's the thing. So I got to the office. I ate the burrito. I sat there, and then it's like just kept hurting. Like it felt like it was in a knot. So like I came home and I just laid in bed like in a ball the rest of the day, and you know, like a lot of burps. Like I thought I needed to throw up or something, but I didn't. So
good. I love the fact that's like, you know, you're gonna throw up, but I mean, because for me, I don't throw up ever, but like just that feeling's like, oh well, then I can go home and go to sleep. You know.
Yeah, I didn't go home and go to sleep. The Suns played that night, and I wanted to see it. And they're playing Denver, and you know, I didn't pod that
you
night,
still watched it?
Of course I did. Yeah, in a ball. I was just like, oh, fuck you, Joker. You know, it's like 30, 20, and 20.
I know.
He's got a triple-double in the first half and the second half. Like, Christ almighty. But, all right. Well, on that note, Jamsters, we hope that you're feeling healthy and that you're feeling okay. It is March. It is the best time of year. It's gorgeous out. It's supposed to get cold here again, too, right? It was like 84 today. But
raining tomorrow again. I think it's raining Thursday. It's going to be in the 60s next weekend. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. So make sure that you guys stay healthy out there, okay? And Matthew, tell them what else they can do while they're out there.
And love your burpees.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.